During this article, I'm discussing how to take advantage of an interesting poker hand called suited connectors, out of position and specifically from the blinds. I'm up against 3 other players attacking them from the small blind, although I consider none of them more competent than me. So, let's examine my opponents in this hand. Big Blind is a very tight player with a VPIP of 13, which means they only play 13% of their hands. Their stack is 1/3 of the maximum buy-in, and unless he is a pro short stacker, I have nothing to worry about them. The cutoff looks like a fish playing more than half of their hands and attacking on all streets. For most people, this player is considered a maniac, and value hands go up tremendously against such a player. Finally, at the button there's a passive player whose aggression factor is almost 0. The only player that has a full stack in front of him is the cutoff. After the first 2 players from the early and middle positions fold, cutoff open raises for the standard bet size 4 times the big blind. Button calls, and with 2 mediocre to bad players already in the pot, I am not afraid to cold call out of position holding suited connectors, an action that might provide attractive odds for the big blind to come along with his medium hands given they are extremely tight. The flop is an excellent flop for my hand. I have an open-ended straight draw, a flush draw and a straight flush draw along with middle pair. One option would be to check and raise when one of the 3 opponent's baits. Assuming I check, big blind checks and cutoff baits. No matter the reaction of the button, my check raise would certainly chase the big blind out, and I very much would like him into the pot at this point, giving me better odds for my multi-draw. Thus I choose to lead bet for 80% of the pot, willing to get calls from all possible draws or pairs. Big blind calls, adding almost 14 big blinds more in the pot, and per flop raiser min raises. That almost always means a strong hand. Button gives up, hand action is back at me. Calling out of position is not an option, since my pot equity will obviously be reduced on turn, unless I hit one of my draws, which would surely make the cutoff slow down or even quit the hand. But how much is exactly my pot equity given the villain holds top pair? 66%. I need to get all my money into the pot right now. Folding is also not an option, therefore I raise all in, hoping to get a call from cutoff. I already consider big blind's money, stead money, and even if cutoff holds a monster set or made straight, I still have plenty of outs to make a better hand. Cutoff calls and the turn is an ace, giving him to pair. Let's go back and say I called instead of shoving. My pot equity would now have been decreased to 36%, and I could barely call a full pot bet by cutoff. In case he overbet, I should fold, giving up such a good hand. River completes my straight draw and I take down a nice pot. Well, I won more than 100 big blinds in this hand. The actual expected value of the hand is about 40 big blinds, $10, and it's the most EV one could extract in this situation.